What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our DFS picks and sleepers show for the Tenerife Open. Craig, before we jump into that, let's head one island east for a second to talk about the Gran Canaria Open, our picks recap, and we got a winner. European Tour has been treating us pretty good lately.
Yeah, I want to say we should probably take equal credit for that one because you got that one, you got that one definitely. You did get your picks in first, so I probably would have taken him, but
that is true. I do usually get the European Tour picks in first, so I get first pick of the guys. But I think we both like Higgo. Higgo got the win. It was a really kind of pretty dominating win, as we discussed in our podcast. So if you do want to listen a little bit there, the links are below. But Craig, I got to give you props on best finish under 8K.
Jeff Winther. Yeah, I bet you didn't see that one coming.
I didn't. He did not make. I only put in one lineup, but he didn't make it.
Yeah. So first off on Higgo, you love to see this. Hopefully this could be the next step. We've talked a lot about this guy, how much potential he has. Winther, solid finish. If it wasn't for Kurt Kitayama missing the cut, I feel like I would have had a pretty darn good week. But on to the next week.
It's all about getting those all six of them. On to this week. Let's keep the good times going. We're at the Tenerife Open. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I'm saying that right, but not exactly sure. Quick hitters, again, kind of a new event. It was last played in 1995. We did have some experience here. Going back 95 to 92. I think it's 89 it started. Jose Maria Olazabal is probably the one name you'll recognize there. But even back then,
a few Ryder Cuppers on the list, but
yeah. Before my time, I was still kind of learning to run, learning how to hold the golf club at that time. But yeah, second of three events in the Canary Islands. We're just hopping one island over for the Tenerife Open.
Yeah, beautiful looking course.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's talk about the golf first. So it is in Adeje, Spain. I think I'm saying that right as well, but I'm not 100% sure. The Golf Costa Adeje.
If you're Spanish or you know how to pronounce this properly and we're doing it wrong, let us know down below. And 1% better every day.
Yeah, let us know. I try to look these all up beforehand, but I'm learning. I'm trying to learn. We've got past Palm fairways, Craig. We've got Tiff Eagle greens, and we have volcanic dust. An account, the Tour Caddies on Twitter, is actually a pretty fascinating account to follow. They're kind of like a group, mostly European Tour caddies that collectively kind of give some insights in the tournament, and they are talking about some packed volcanic dust on the course that actually you can get some pretty decent lives from. So it looks like to be an interesting course. Pretty good history here. I know they've hosted quite a few tournaments in the past, but kind of an interesting setup. We got 6 par 3s.
Yeah. So just real quick, if it's not clear, if you don't know this, Tiff Eagle is a type of Bermuda. So grainy greens, typical stuff we see in more tropical courses.
Yeah, exactly. The course setup though, it's definitely interesting. 6 par 3s, 5 par 5s. Expect very, very low scoring. I think even back when it was hosted in the early 90s, there was a record for the lowest European Tour score. With what we saw with Garrick Higgle last week, I think it's going to be pretty similar score. I think it's going to be, high, mid, low 20s, maybe even crack a 30 under. I don't know. It's going to be low, though, I expect.
Yeah, I totally agree. These resort courses, these guys can take them apart.
They just eat them up. Yeah, par 71, 6,800 yards, 6,200 meters. But the one defense, as with all these coastal courses, is the wind. And looking quickly at the weather, Craig, it doesn't look like we're going to have much. Honestly, it looks like just some showers, which may even soften it a little bit. But the wind there, 11 miles per hour,
I was going to say,
I didn't switch it over.
We kind of flip back and forth from the Imperial for our American friends. We try to go back to, kilometers an hour and degrees Celsius for our European friends, but we'll just have to miss this one.
Just kind of have to miss this one. Wind Finder, I think, is the best kind of site we've been using for wind. The station I did find was the Los Cristianos. From what I can tell, the city, it's kind of on the 6 o'clock position on a clock on the island. So it was the closest weather station I could find. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't look like there's going to be much defense in terms of wind. There's always going to be some wind, but it's not going to be blowing or gusting that hard.
Yeah, it looks like the course is going to be soft too. High percent chance of rain. Unless this is one of these things where one side of the island gets a lot of water and then the other one doesn't, right, and we're looking at a different side. But I would think the course is going to be very scoreable.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. 2 picks, 2 sleepers. Should we jump into it?
Yep. If this is your first time watching, essentially we do 2 picks each above 8,000, 2 picks each below 8,000 on DraftKings. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you like it. Jump into him?
Let's do it. Craig, I'm going right back. I'm going Antoine Rozner. Kind of a boring pick, so I'll kind of go quickly here, but he's 11,000 on DraftKings. He's first. I just have no reason not to keep playing him. He has last 8 starts, 2 wins, Qatar and Golf in Dubai, 7 top 26s. Again, I think he was T15 last week in the Canary Islands. His strokes gained total, this is from datagolf.com, over the past, I feel like I made a mistake here. I think this is 6 months and 12 months. This is right. It's 3 months and 6 months. So 3 months, he's plus 1.22 first. But here's the thing, is how far in front he is. He's 0.36 better than the second best player in the field. The past 6 months, he's 0.74. He's first again, and he's 0.24 better than the second place person in the field. When we do go to 30 days, he is bumped from first because Maximilian has been playing out of his mind lately, and he got in the first position. But Antoine Rozner just seems like a clear plug and play. I know I'm going to get kind of a pretty good score. He could pop for another win, but it feels like an easy top 25 for him. I could find value down the board. He just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is high priced and he is still getting a lot of ownership, I think. So, I mean, the argument you could make is that you can find value elsewhere, but I think he's a good play. You just kind of have to decide whether you want to look at balanced, whether you want to plug in the top guy and hope that he demonstrates the value that he probably should.
And honestly, I had Matthias Schwab slotted in here for a little bit. He's coming off 3 top 10s, but I was just like, I'll spend a little bit more for Rozner just because he's been super consistent over the last little while.
Yep.
So I went with Rozner.
Yeah. So I'm looking at a little bit more balanced here. My first one here, I'm going down to 9,000, 14th priced, Calum Hill. We'll have to figure that one out when I get told I was wrong. So strokes gained totals per data golf. These are they're adjusted for essentially PGA Tour average is 0 on this. Last 3 months he's 3rd in the field. Last 6 months he's 4th in the field. Even over 12 months he is 11th in the field in strokes gained total. So I love those numbers. Just seems like value to me when he's priced at 14th. We look at what he's done recently. His last 8 starts, he has missed a single cut. 6 times he's played his way into the top 30. 5 of 8, he's top 15.
Yeah.
His best finish in that time is a tie for 3rd at the Savannah Classic. Potentially, maybe he was also tied for 4th at the Saudi International, which you could argue in the field that was. That might even be a more impressive result. So really good play from him of recent. He was tied for 29th this past week, 2 top 10s before that. So I just really like his form coming in. You look at his Euro Tour 2021 stats. There's 2 things I'm kind of looking at this week. I want guys who hit a lot of greens and guys who are putting well, because I think a lot of these events, as we've traveled around on the European Tour so far in 2021, I don't know how reliable our strokes gain numbers are. So,
100%,
strokes gain putting, it's a little bit easier to see, just get some value from that. But greens in regulation is a rock solid one to me, I think, no matter where they're playing. So far Hill is 72% greens in regulation, 21st. This isn't in the field. This is on the European Tour. So we still have guys like Hovland and Justin Thomas and Finau, people who came over and played one tournament on that. So 21st is a pretty darn good ranking.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. The strokes gained data, especially when they're in a new course, not part of their annual rotation, they might not have all the equipment or volunteers or whatever it may be. It definitely has a little bit of an asterisk.
Or when they can't get their broadcast equipment into Kenya.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know exactly. So greens in regulation is a pretty easy stat. Like you can mark that on a scorecard. I hit 14 greens today, and it's pretty easy to calculate. So I am leaning on that a little bit as well. But yeah, seems like a good value at 14th price there. My second pick, I'm going Laurie Canter, 8,600. He's 18th price, kind of in the same area, but I feel like a little bit more upside here. So he has popped for 5 top 5s in his last 14 events. So we're talking about 30, low 30% of the time. He's getting a top 5, which is excellent finish. So his strokes gained totals, this is per data golf. Again, we're not going to see many guys in this type of field above 0 or well above 0 at all. So last 3 months, he's 0.04. He's 14th. He ranks 14th. Last 6 months, he's 0.01. That's 8th. And his last 12 months, minus 0.07. But that's 4th in this field. So 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, he's still better strokes gained total than his 18th ranked price. He didn't play last week, so maybe it's just kind of like we didn't have recent history for Canter, and that's why he's priced down a little bit. But it just screams value to me. The other thing I am looking at, which is easy to record with their scorecards, is birdies per round. So he ranks third in the European Tour in birdies per round at 4.5. This is 2020. Get a little bit more data.
Bigger sample size there. Yeah.
Yeah, bigger sample size. But the one thing I was going to say with Canter is I feel like he can pop. And the only bet I put in this week is a Canter Sungjae Im double for 1,001 odds. Yeah. That's the one I'm going with in each way, top 5 each way. But the Im Canter double is what I'm going for this week.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder, I think, with Canter because he came over for the WGC. We haven't seen a ton of play from him. He missed the cut at the Qatar Masters, but it's just he's one of these guys that goes out there and like you said, over a third of his tournaments in his last 14 events, he's top 5. When he plays well, he plays his way to the top of the leaderboard. Not a lot of these top 10s, top 20s at high percentages. He gets up there in contention. So I do think he is more of a high risk, high reward type of play.
100%. Yeah, completely agree.
And I guess maybe leaning in the other direction, I'm going with an older man. We got Jamie Donaldson. 8,800, he's 16th in pricing. It seems like a long-term steady value to me here. 3 months, he's 7th in strokes gained total. 6 months, he's 3rd, and 12 months, he's 3rd. So what has he done recently? So the one problem I had, his last 7 starts here, he did withdraw from the Kenya Savannah Classic. I couldn't. I tried to figure out if it was a COVID withdraw or I played badly in my second round and so I'm withdrawing. But he played the first round. He carded it at even par and then withdrew. If you know what happened, let us know. But I just excluded it because you don't know whether it was poor play or not. But anyways, his last 7 starts, a single missed cut, 6 top 36s. 4 top 20. So a lot of the time he is playing his way high into the field. His best finish in that time was a 2nd at the South African Open. One of the ones that Christian Bez ran over the field. I think he was 5 shots clear. But anyways, he also he was top 5 at the Qatar Masters. So he has a few high finishes and I think a good record of consistent higher finishes. So far 2021, he is 13th. He's hitting awesome greens and regulation rate, and his strokes gained putting is pretty good. So it seems like a steady one to me. 8,800. If you're looking balanced, I think he's a good guy to look at and plug in.
Yeah, and most people don't want it, at 16th at 8,800. They don't want to put in like the mid 40s Ryder Cupper. And you know what? I've kind of had that bias too. I'm like, he's going to come back down to kind of earth a little bit, but he keeps getting these top 20, top 36 type finishes. And it's backed up with good play. It's been long enough. I mean, we talked about him in the fall a little bit, but it is really steady. So yeah, I mean, a good approach player. I mean, just keep riding him if he's playing this well.
Yeah. Okay, on to the sleepers.
Jumping into the sleepers, my first play under 8,000 is Renato Paratore. He comes in at 7,700 on DraftKings. He's 30th. Again, another guy that wasn't in the Canary Islands last week, but I feel like maybe being slept on a little bit. So he's coming off a T12 at the Austrian Open, and he started with a 78. So his last 3 rounds have been really good play, but he opened really poorly there, did make the weekend, and kind of parlayed that into a good finish at T12. What does he do well? His 2020 rankings, European Tour, kind of seems like from tee to green, we got a little bit of everything here. So 28th driving distance, 311 yards, might be able to just eat up this course with that driving distance. 27th strokes gain approach at 0.58, 17th strokes gain around the green at 0.32, and 10th in putts per round at 28.45. So doing a little bit of everything. Again, another guy like Canter that seems to have high finishes and then will miss a cut kind of out of nowhere, but then another high finish. Less so like, what we're seeing from Abraham Ancer stateside. That's, 20th for 5 straight events. These guys are a little bit more volatile, and that's completely fine. But a stat, I said I was leaning on a little bit. He ranks 13th in the European Tour in birdies per round in 2020 at 4.25. So if it's going to be a birdie fest, I want these guys that can get birdies. I want these guys that can get DFS points. And I think Paratore is a good one there.
Yep, I like it. I kind of have a bit of a thing. I feel like I've played him and been burned a couple of times, so I have my own personal feelings on Paratore. But
Sure.
no, I think he is definitely an upside. He has upside. Just tough to know how he's showing up.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's
sure.
DFS golf though, I guess.
Yeah, and that's a little bit European Tour golf.
Yeah, I do find the analytics are a little bit harder to dig into.
The analytics. I mean, I'm digging through Instagram. These guys' Instagrams to make sure they're on the island every week, just to make sure that they're there.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's there.
I think I have one coming at the same price here. Mikko Korhonen, 7,700. He's 30th. To me, this is just steady. He did miss the cut last week, but I still think he's playing very well. I think it's just good value. You look at recently, his last 3 months, he's 23rd in the field strokes in total. 6 months, we see that go up a bit. He has had some good play in that 3 to 6 month range. He's 14th, but then 12 months, full year, he's 22nd. Seems like a pretty good rate. Pretty good value at 30th in pricing. Sure. Last 5 starts, as I said, single miscut last week. He has 4 top 35s before that. So, he was playing some fairly good, consistent golf. It was a little bit further back. He hadn't played since the Middle East swing, but those were in good fields. As we remember, those were stronger fields. Best finish in that time was the 15th at the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. And again, I'm looking at these 2 stats, greens in regulation and strokes gained putting. So he's 22nd, 72% greens in regulation, and he's gaining over a half stroke putting. I think if he does that this week, it's going to be value.
Yeah. No, I think so. Like you said, if you can find those kind of total stats where they're all above kind of their ranking, it just seems like it's going to be value. And yeah, I kind of completely agree with that.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit less upside than some of these other ones, but I think if you're looking for maybe, he did miss the cut last week, but maybe a bit of a safer cut maker can play his way into the top 30.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, my last sleeper here, I'm going Maverick Antcliff. I got a little bit distracted there for a second, Craig. I had to double check the stats here. I was looking ahead at my page here. Just they seem too good to be true, but I wanted to double check. But I think they're true. So Maverick, he's 7,300 on DraftKings. He's 44th. He's coming off 3 straight made cuts on the European Tour, including a T21 last week. But one thing I really like, he was 6 in greens in regulation, just under 80%. So he's hitting the ball well. He's hitting his irons well. Going back to 2020, he ranks 13th on the European Tour in strokes gained tee to green at plus 1.17. This is the one I had to go back and check. And yeah, he's still 13th there. So I think that's right. But that's really, really good. He came over. He got kind of his before he's on the European Tour, he was on the China Golf Tour. Absolutely dominated that year in 2019. He had 3 wins, 7 top 5s. He almost doubled the second place golfer in the points that he earned through like the season-long race. So he just absolutely destroyed it over in China. And he's kind of parlayed that into pretty good play on the European Tour. Another thing, I don't exactly know what his latest hairstyle is. I couldn't find his Instagram. I'm not sure, but riding that Aussie momentum with the Leishman Smith win, he's kind of got that flow like Cam Smith. If you can get kind of that Aussie momentum, the mullet momentum, I'm all over it for Maverick.
Yeah, those are the things that matter. I mean, we need to get the update on the haircut, otherwise it might be a fade.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I like it. I it's one that I had not done a deep dive on, so I'll take your word for it, I think. So I've tried to give you a few safe value plays, slight value across the board. I'm going a little bit different on this last one. I'm going with the volatile high upside. Nicolai Hojgaard, Rasmus's twin brother, 7,400 on DraftKings. He's 40th in pricing. You look at these strokes gained totals and you'll think I'm crazy because this is not how I typically pick. Over the last 3 months, he's 67th. 6 months, he's 112th. 12 months, he's 120th. These are all in this field. That is not on the European Tour or anything like that. These are his ranks in the field. So some concerning things there. But why do I still like it? So his last 8 starts, 4 missed cuts, so 50% cut rate. 3 top 16s. So when he's making the cut, he's playing his way up there. He was tied for 7th at the Austrian Open. He was tied for 15th last week on the Canary Islands. So I just think that, you know, these we know how talented these brothers are. I think that we might see him start to come into form. Both of them have had, I think, more troubles with consistency than with what their top form is. It's a matter of that showing up on a weekly basis. But, you know, they're 19, 20 years old still. So that's a matter of learning how to be a pro. So his numbers are really good thus far in 2021. And you can see why his longer term strokes gained total numbers are bad, because he's gone from minus 0.8 strokes gained tee to green to plus 1.64 so far this season. He's gone from 63% greens in regulation to 74%. He went from 134th ranked. This is on the European Tour, 134th ranked to 9th ranked. So he is just, I don't know if it's a strategy thing or a ball striking thing, but he is just across the board tee to green playing better.
Or maturity in the game.
Conversely, his putting was slightly above average in 2020. He's losing over a stroke around right now. So, you know, as his whole golf game seems to be coming together, his putting's falling apart. So even with these back-to-back top 20s, you know, I'm pretty sure I saw last week when he was tied for 15th, he lost 0.6 strokes around putting. So if he gets his putter back to the form that it was, and he continues to play like this, I think we could easily be looking at him, you know, getting his first win to go along with his brother here.
Yeah, you know what? We're still in, April here. The putting could just be in a little bit kind of a putting, you know,
sample
valley
size,
and come right.
Yeah,
Small sample size, a little bit of a valley, come right out of it, or kind of inaccurate kind of data sampling, which we can see on the European Tour. But yeah, it's a name kind of like Donaldson. I keep kind of seeing pop up the leaderboard now and again, and seems to be coming up more often than not. It's like, okay, Hojgaard, brother, he's arrived.
Yeah, it's a huge question mark. It's a huge risk on a DFS slate, but I think it's one with upside.
But then it would be one of those ones where like he pops for a win, and then people would be like, yeah, okay, I guess I could have seen that. Like for sure, the talent is all there.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Let us know below your favorite, the winner of the event, and then your favorite play under 8,000 on DraftKings, or your favorite sleeper if you don't play DFS. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you like our content. Hit that thumbs up and watch our other videos.
Yep. Good luck, guys. See you next week.